I first started seeing everything that was going on with XR after the April Rebellion in 2019. And I just knew that I needed to do something. I think I've just got sick and tired of watching governments and people in power not doing anything about the climate and ecological emergency. So I thought, why not do something myself? And it's really weird. I initially came in just thinking, maybe they're doing it wrong. Maybe that, you know, if we just tell people to recycle more and to, I don't know, like use less plastic, then everything's going to change, and that's important. But that's not going to solve the problem, because these problems are so systemic that we actually need to bring it to people's attention to actually make that systemic change. So for me, I first started just with my local group, and everyone there is so lovely. I was met with people that just greeted me with hugs and food, and yeah, it's just nice to be in a space where people care about the same cause and are passionate about fixing the problems that we face. I think in my time, I've grown to hear a lot of criticism about the movement as well, particularly from marginalised groups, and I would say that those points still stand, but the reason that I'm still with the movement is that whenever I've seen people be critical of XR, I've seen people from within the movement rise up and say, how do we tackle these criticisms? How do we make ourselves better? And that's why I stay a part of it, because yes, these problems exist, but I'm also met with people every single week who go, how do we fix these problems? And that's why I'm still here. I'm very sick and tired of just seeing problems in the world and reading news articles and having people go, oh, that's such a shame, and then we just continue on with our lives. The thing that I'm passionate about is just fixing the problems that we have in society, and XR is a really good way for me to do that. Just because you're surrounded by other people that care and other people that want to make that productive change, and it's the vast number of people that you meet in doing it as well. It's not just 20 people in a room. There are thousands of people across the country, across the world, who are like, yeah, we need to do something about this, and we need to do something about this now. And that is what just that sheer number of people is making politicians, making corporates listen to us, because they know that people are waking up and that we need to do something. The biggest problem that we have is that we kind of know that there are solutions out there, but we don't see it as urgent enough, and that we think somebody else is going to do it. There's a quote from Robert Swan, it is my favourite quote of all time, that says, "The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it." And I think that's just the epitome of what we're facing now, is that we actually have so many people that can do something and that can do something right now, but they're not doing it. And so I just get started. Like, even if you can't see the end result, then just get started. I speak to councillors, I've spoken to MPs, and sometimes they're just uncertain. It's not that they don't want to make the change, they just don't know how to do it. And when you're faced with an emergency like this, it's just get started and then you work from there. Right now, just saying no just means that we're still in the same place and we get nothing done. The fact that XR has managed to mobilise so many people that believe in the same thing is what makes it special. I think that if you look at any other grassroots, okay, not any other grassroots, if you look at other grassroots movements, a lot of them are finding it difficult to get to the point that we get to now. And XR is able to do that because we do like provide solutions and speak to MPs and councillors and say, here is what you can do. But when they go, we can't do that, that's where XR is there to say, okay, well, that's not acceptable. Like, you need to do something. And that's what sets it apart. And I think that is why people are listening. I mean, in terms of actually making people listen, the one thing that I've realised is that when you have these systemic structures that don't allow you to make change, the necessary change that you need to make, then sometimes you have to do things differently. And I think there's a lot of stuff that's been done within XR that has been controversial, and if I can say it, some of it I haven't necessarily agreed with, and it hasn't been stuff that I would do myself. But for the most part, just the act of saying no and being resolute in that, and having other people that will stand next to you and say, we're not going to stand for this, is just one of the most powerful things that you can do. I find that a lot of my friends and family members are saying, oh yeah, you know, I'm going to have a baby soon, or I'm planning for a baby. And I'm like, cool, but what's that world going to be like in 50 years? And it just like, it's not don't have a child. It's just, okay, but if you're going to have a child, do you want to think about the type of planet that they're going to be growing up in? Do you want to fix that first so that you know that they're going to be okay? When I came here today, I wanted to make sure that I did justice to other environmental movements, other people that have been fighting the same fight that we've been fighting, that we are fighting at the moment. And I just wanted to recognise that there are other people and other communities that that experience this fight differently to we do. I just wanted to help other people understand that when we're talking about this, it's not just, oh yeah, I recycle and that changes everything. It's like there are people in the Global South, or even within XR, there are marginalised groups that that experience this act of protest differently to how we do. And I think that's just something important to acknowledge.